جيب لي هنا خلنا كلمة. أنا أطلع عندك أنت الفيديو أحمد؟
لا
هذا الرابط للزوم.
وأنا اديته ريموت كنترول.
نشوف أنا طلع لي هنا لانشينج ميتينج. طيب.
So you all can hear me already? Yes. Okay.
هذا هو.
Yes.
جميل. هو أهم مني.
So I will start to share my screen. So if it's visible, just tell me.
Yes, I think it's possible.
Yeah. So let's try. Now you have my screen.
Yeah, I have. Good. Good morning.
So good morning.
Today.
So I think you did introduce me already.
I did. First of all, let me thank you for joining us and giving us from your time. I already gave the student data testing brief about you. ممكن طلع صورتي هنا. Here. I gave the student background about our relationship and experience. And now I'm talking from my office. You can see behind me the map of Berlin. And
I see.
In 1993 or 4, when I met you at Stuttgart, first we met.
Yes, that was the first time.
Good.
Yes.
Let me put you in the context, Professor Maurer, that this chapter relates to the design of the concrete formwork. And I show them already 2 clips of videos of collapse of the formwork.
I see.
So that we emphasize the importance of the knowledge of the design of the temporary formwork, or false work, sometimes we call it. And I paved the way so that you can give them an idea from your practical experience. While next week, I'm gonna get into sizing the formwork playwoods and thickness of the forms and the forces involved, stresses, and so on. So please, the floor is yours. You have 20 minutes to go, and thereafter we can discuss with you any discussion. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Behind my screen, you see the skyline from Munich. Actually, I'm sitting in Ulm, my hometown, and I'm really proud that you did invite me to this, to a presentation about formwork. And you can see the screen and the photo, yes?
Yes, we do. Very good. Clear.
Yes. So actually, formwork or shuttering is quite important, yes, for the temporary support for the concrete. Here we do have an example of an ongoing construction site somewhere in Germany. And of course, we have some differences between the countries, but anyhow, you have to support the concrete until it's got its final strength. In this presentation, I want to emphasize on formwork for slabs, so for concrete slabs. There are other parts, okay, we have here, we see here walls, columns, and so on. And for all of these parts, you need a specific formwork. But I'd like to emphasize now on formwork for slabs. And what is how can I choose the suitable formwork? And as Professor Al-Hamad told you already, it's of course quite important to have the correct formwork, to have it the correct dimension, to have it erected correctly for the stress of the weight of the concrete. Otherwise, it can collapse. And I can tell you, this did happen also already once on my side. It was a correct formwork. Everything was fine, but it was not erected properly. So the workers, they didn't use the correct support. Yes. So there was an accident on the side, and this is to be avoided. So let's see. You have the short problem that my slides are in German, but I think that's not a problem. It's getting about concrete optimization for formwork in concrete works, especially for concrete slabs. Deckenschalung means that's the formwork for slabs. So there are some questions. Okay, sorry, it's German. If I try to choose the correct formwork, I have some questions to ask. So there are some, I cannot say it's always the same I can use. There are different types of formwork. Yes. So I have to think what's in this case for this project, what's the timing? Yes. What's the timing of the project? How much time have I got? Then it's the number of slabs. Yes, the number of slabs. Do I have parts? What kind of cranes do I have? What's the capacity of the crane? What's the geometry of the building? Here we do have a geometry. It's yes, it's long and it's perpendicular. Yes, and so otherwise, if I have a round geometry, it's a different topic. Then it's also interesting about the facade. So if there is a concrete facade, yes, in place, it's also something else. Then I have to think about the height of the floor. Yes, the height. Are they always the same? Are they different? Then I have the topic of safety of the works, which is, let's say, the only thing where you cannot make a compromise. On all the other topics, there are compromises possible, but not in safety. Yes. What's quite important is the issue: how often can I use the formwork? For example, here I can use this formwork several times. And this makes it more, let's say, in terms of costs, makes it more optimal. And last but not least, it's also a topic of what's the quality of the concrete surface. Yes, so looking in a concrete slab, looking from down under, so looking to the concrete floor above, what will be the surface? What's the architect's wishes? So I have to ask these questions before I choose the correct formwork. And here I do have some different types of formwork for concrete slabs. So you see there's not too much wood anymore. And this is, maybe it's a specific topic we do have in countries, in the Western countries like Germany or the United States, where we have high wages. So as we realized, the formwork takes a lot of time for the workers and multiplied by the high wage. So I have to choose for each site the correct or the best suitable type of formwork. So there are, let's say, products have been developed to have always to have different types, and you have to choose which one is the best one. So nowadays in, let's say, I can tell you about Germany, the construction companies, they do not buy this formwork anymore, they rent it. They rent it always, and they choose the best formwork they can get for the specific project. So these are just some icons. The easiest one is this one where we have these girders. Yes, this is a girder type of formwork. So I have the support, steel support columns, and I have a main girder and a secondary girder. We will see this more in detail later. And so this is, let's say, on the top we have a formwork coating, formwork with coating from wood. So there are other types have some panels, like you can see here. This is Kydeck panel formwork, where these panels are made out of, they are rectangular, and so they are made actually out of aluminum. Yes, so they are lightweight, and they can be removed very easily. Yes, and the third type is, we call it a table, a formwork table, which will be used several times, and it can have up to 150 square meters, but normally it's a little bit smaller, this table. You can use it, you fix it you erect it once, and you use it several times in the structure. So let us look a little bit more closely to these different types of formworks. This is, as I told you, the most easiest one. This is also the cheapest one, yeah, in terms of cheapest for the material. There are just these steel columns which can be adjusted in the height. They are fixed, so they are can be erected easily. They will not fall down. And then you put the main girder. It's a wooden girder in this direction. And then on top, you have a secondary girder going in this direction. So in order to have the correct dimension for the specific weight of the concrete, it can be adjusted, the distance between the main girders and the secondary girders as well. So you have to choose and think about the thickness of the concrete slab, and then you choose, according to this, you choose the supports, what's the length between the support columns, and what's the distance between the main girders. And on top, you have this wooden plate. It's actually a layer of, it's not only wood, there are it's a layer of some materials, and on top there's a coating, yes, that it can be used quite often. So that's we call it also the flex. It's a flex formwork because this is very flexible, yes. It can be adjusted to lots of different types of geometry. And you see also these supports. These are heavy duty supports, but you see it's, let's say, a lot of work. It's a lot of manual work. In the back, you see the worker here carrying this support column. The next one is a little bit different. Yes, it's more sophisticated, and of course the material much more expensive. You see here also the support, the steel support columns, which can be adjusted. Then there is some very interesting thing here on the top of this column. Yes, it's, maybe we see a little bit closer, and we have, again, we have kind of girders in these directions. It's this, quite the same as the wooden girders, but these are out of aluminum, so they will last lots of years. Aluminum is very light and can be carried very easily. There's only one problem with the aluminum in concrete works. That's the point. If the aluminum is not coated properly, the concrete will stick to the aluminum. So the coating of this material is quite important. It's actually the secret of this system. And on top you see panels. These are panels, and they have let's say a frame also out of aluminum, and there's a coating out of wood, which can be, let's say, after 20, 30 or 40 times of usage, this can be changed to a new one. And then there is, let's say, here you see a small tape. Yes. Again, here you see a small tape. So this is quite one of the secrets of this system, because the main supports, they, as you see here of this column, will go up to this point. So this helps if you get the formwork out of the structure. The columns here, the supports, can remain. So you can remove everything, but the columns, the support columns, will remain in place. So this is one of the secrets of this quite interesting panel formwork. Here you can see it again. So the worker is working on top, which is a safety problem, but actually he should be, let's say, secured. He should be secured from the back. And actually you can handle it very easily because it's a lightweight structure. And the columns, the support columns here, you see this red top, this goes up right to the top where the concrete will be poured on top. So there's a direct connection to the top of this column. So this column can and will remain in place after removing of these panels. So you can get rid of all the expensive material. You can use it somewhere else in the structure, but the support columns will remain in place. Here you can see it's not very heavy. The worker can carry easily 2 of these panels. And what you see here, it's quite important. You see there is this one row of steel columns as a support of the concrete slab, which will still remain in place. All the formwork, all the shuttering is removed, just the support will remain. So in this material can be used somewhere else in the structure.
You hear me? Gerd, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, sure.
That's very interesting, you know. You can move the shuttering, but you cannot use it in the second floor because you have to set up the columns before that.
Yes, that's a good question. You need, of course, a second set of columns. Yes, you need more columns, but this is the cheapest part of these formwork structure are these steel columns, and they have the only thing which is a little bit more expensive is the red structure on top. It's, let's say, it's something which will help you to get the formwork down from the concrete. But you're correct. I need a second set of steel columns. Yes,
lovely.
Which I will use.
I want to beg a question that given the type of scaffolding you have, do you use in Germany the timber anymore for the columns or the shuttering?
I didn't understand the question. They didn't
Do you
use
use the
timber.
material, timber,
wooden wood.
wood?
The timber.
Yeah.
No, I think it's actually you see only here these coating, yes, of these elements. Of course, this is mainly out of timber, but it's not one layer. It's a multi-layer element where it's laminated. It's a laminated wood, and so the wood and the timber will not, let's say, because of the humidity, it will last quite long. But actually, this is mainly a wooden multi-layer topping, yeah, of these elements. But you see,
I see. This is for the slab. But how about the column?
Yeah.
You don't use in the columns anymore timber. You only use alloys, right?
Yes, they are using systems all the time nowadays. Of course, there's a little bit of timber. You see here these kind of girders, they are of timber. These are, let's say, in the background you can see, maybe we see it a little bit later on. We will see there is still some wood. So, and here is just a few numbers. What you need, how many parts you need for these aluminum panel decks. You need only 2.3 parts per square meter. So the number of parts in your system is important, because this is also costing, let's say, time to erect and to remove. And you can be really fast to mount this panel deck formwork. It's 0.15 to 0.30 hours per square meter. And this value means you need 0.15, or let's say, it's a little bit, of course, advertising, let's say 0.2 hours per square meter for erecting the formwork, and for dismounting and getting it transported to the next place. So it's
so you don't need nails here, like you don't need carpenter.
No,
the panels together.
Yeah, no, it's so easily. It's like playing Lego.
Wow.
It's like playing Lego.
So you have no nails in the ground, you know. Or out from the wood, you know. I just showed them video in India about the collapse of a false work. And one time I was waiting in the bus station, and suddenly there's a big fall of a building under construction because they are using wood. That was in Cairo.
I see.
Yes, it's in the bus station outside the city or in the suburbs.
And even if you remember, Ibrahim, back in Canada, let's say in the 80s and 90s already, the timber is very cheap in Canada, but also they're already using aluminum girders. This was very amazing for me in the 90s. In the 1990s, it was 1980s already. Yes,
true.
They used aluminum girders. I was very fascinated because the timber is quite cheap in Canada. But let's go on. There's a third system. You see are still some timber girders, but the idea of this table for the formwork is that you fix one table and this will remain together. Yes, this will remain. You will mount it, erect it in the correct place. And for the dismounting, you kind of, yes, you can use it again. You will not have to dismantle this table. We will see this. So this is a secondary possibility if there's a steel girder. And you see also here some very interesting, let's say, top of the steel support column. So in the case of dismounting, you can flip you can flip the columns. Yes, we will see. So, of course, this is quite heavy. This is a heavy structure. You cannot carry it manually. So there is some assistance here. It's to move it inside of the structure and to bring it in place. It's here. This is called. It's a slab formwork table, and you can bring it in place using the tower crane, and you have some support, and you take the complete structure of this table and bring it in place using the crane. But you can use this only in certain specific structures, like we have it here. You see, there are no concrete facades any here, so you need the space to be able to. Here you see one of these tables just at the moment will be brought in place, but you have to have an open facade. Later on, there will be most probably a steel, whatever kind of facade. And this is actually the most economic possibility to make this concrete slab formwork. You need only, here you see 0.05 parts per square meters. And the timing, if you can use it several times, yeah, it's going down to 0.1 hours, working hours.
Gert,
so this is the
to disturb, my TA here tells me the Zoom has limited time. We only have 10 minutes. So
okay, no problem. So
we
let's
can
go
push
on.
it 8 minutes and we close it in 2 minutes.
I see. Okay. Yes.
Please,
Otherwise,
just focus on the important closer. Thank you.
Important is that these are just more. I think we can skip this. Important is that you have to choose the correct type of. Maybe we go back to these pictures. The correct type and the best suitable type of formwork. Yes. As you can see here, you can use this only if you have space, if there's a repetition, yes, if you have several floors on top, yes, then you can use this. You need a good tower crane to move this, and you're not so flexible as in the other types of formwork. So let me summarize. Actually, yes, you have to choose the suitable formwork for the specific project, and this is not always the same. So and very important is the high costs of wages in the Western world, in Germany, in the United States, in Europe. So we try to get down the working hours of the workers. And maybe if you want to get more information on this, yes, just a second.
Okay.
This is now, let's say, the merchandising part. Yes, this is the commercial part.
What happened to the audio? ممكن من عندها.
Okay.
نكتب له في الشات. الشات ما يطلع. Ahmed is the host.
Interesting for you, I can guess.
Okay.
We are in Jeddah and have a brunch. So what's very interesting, it's a mid-size, it's a family-owned.
Gert, can you repeat what you said? Because the audio was disrupted the last 3 minutes.
Okay, so as you see here, I just showed, let's say, these these projects, they became a real good and world market leader, this formwork company, because they are optimizing all the time, giving perfect formwork for each and for all different types of projects. Actually, it's a family-owned company, and very typical for Germany that there is a family and there are some, let's say, the people are working there, and also the children of the workers, they are there. So now the CEO of Peri is actually the son of a former salesman for Peri. So the second generation kind of took over. And this is very typical. And you can see here, Ibrahim, if there is a, let's say, if it's a complex structure, if it's curved.
Like bridges, and I saw the one before on dams.
And then you need the timber.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Means they are special design false work.
They have, yes, and they have a very innovative development, research and development. You see here all these types of.
Where they are based, Gert?
Actually, they are 10 kilometers south of Ulm.
Okay, so that's why you are promoting
south of Ulm.
their system. Gert, we have.
Actually, we do have.
Let's conclude.
Some questions?
Are you done, or you have few slides?
No, this is perfect now. This is perfect.
Yes, let's come to conclusion. I thank you very much. I would say for our student here that what you presented is really the most innovative system of formwork or shuttering. And here in Saudi, we can see these kinds in sophisticated projects. But the predominant residential housing, they use wood for formwork, and sometimes steel for the columns to support the shuttering. So that shows, you know, the standard there versus the standard here. It's more costly there, but probably better quality. And here we have this quality only in big projects and some special buildings, as well as, you know, big palaces and big villas. Then they can employ these kind of high quality systems.
Yes.
I don't have time for student question. We take one question. We have 2 minutes or 1 minute. شباب في عندكم أسئلة؟
So the conclusion really is to save the timber and the wood, but still we will have it also in this flexible deck formwork, but to save the timber, because this is also expensive. I can imagine in Saudi Arabia, timber is not so easily to get, yes. And after using on the structure, you have to get rid of the wood. So that's the reason why they use more and more the systems, like you see here, also for the color. Yes,
you're right.
This is a steel formwork actually. But on top of this, the coating is also the plywood, which will be used up to 20 to 30 times. Yes, that's the normal.
Wow, 20 to 30 times. A normal timber, it will take 3 to 7 times max. Well, Gert, I thank you very much for your time and experience and knowledge explaining this. Within the context of productivity,
Next time.
how fast is this system? You know, we have 1 minute to go.
Yes. Okay, it's up to, let's say you have these two tables here. We have a time usage of 0.1 working hours per square meters. So you will not be able to do
Square
it.
meter, how long it take to
To